Okay, I hate making videos. I don't like being on camera, so this is really fucking weird. Breathe. So recently I realized that I I really I wanted to go into science communication, but I don't like staring at a screen all day, and most science communication is written, and I understand that that's because the reach of the communication is wider when you write it down and then publish it on some website. But I like talking to people, and I realize I have a lot more experience talking to non scientists about science than I do talking to scientists about science. And I um, have been thinking about leaving academia for a really long time. I never really planned to stay in it. And then yesterday, the thought occurred to me that if I leave, I can't go back in. And I really like connecting to people because it's something I think I struggle with in general. Like, I always struggled with it, especially when you're like the child of immigrants. Connecting to people who were raised in a different culture can be a really difficult task. So I think when I succeed in it, I actually feel proud of myself. And I'm Indian, so I wasn't really raised to feel proud of myself for anything, right? So I think there's something in that like struggle where like I finally do something that seems sort of impossible. It feels good. The point is, I like talking to people. It's the reason I can speak multiple languages, and I'm just a talkative person. And I like when people talk to me and when people listen to me and when I get to listen to them. And if I leave academia, then there's an entire micro or like sub society of people, because academia is a little bit elitist. But that entire society of people, I will never get to talk to them ever again. And even though one of the reasons I kind of wanted to leave for a long time is because a lot of academics are really arrogant, um, I do know some who aren't, and most of my mentors aren't. The people I don't, most of the all of the people I allow to write rec letters for me aren't, but it's still a handful of people within a sea of what I perceive as arrogance. And maybe it's not arrogance, maybe there's just small things that kind of turn me off. But if I leave, then I will never really get to talk to those people ever again. Whereas if I stay, then I can talk to all those people, and I can talk to people outside in like normal society, like normal people. And so by staying, I would be able to widen the amount of human interaction that I can have. And I'm not an extrovert, like, I'm very introverted. Um, and talking to people I don't know gives me anxiety, which is why making a video like this makes it hard to breathe. But I don't think I feel safe from the neck down when I'm around people I don't know. Um, yeah, but I don't know. I think so far I haven't met the ratio of inspiring to totally uninspiring people in academia that I've met is very low. I've met a handful of awesome people, like my advisors and stuff, and then everyone else seems to kind of suck to me. In my perception, right? It's not a fact. It's an opinion. Um, and then I go out in society, and everyone seems so nice and humble and willing to learn new things, and they don't assume that they're experts in anything, which I really appreciate, because I don't feel like an expert in anything, and I don't know if I ever will, even if I am. And I am really, really good at certain things, but expert is just a word that I don't know, something about it seems dirty to me. But then I think about normal society, and I think about like people on Instagram who are super comfortable saying what their opinion is, and they don't have any issue with the fact that no one vetted it. And I don't like that. Like, I am the kind of person where I want to be in normal society, but I want peer review to be a democratic, normal thing, not just something that happens in academia. And I realized that people who aren't academics don't crave peer review. Like, that's not something they want. They actually don't want that. They don't want anyone to tell them what not to say and to criticize their ideas or their thoughts. And I do. I want someone to poke holes in what I've thought about so that I understand if there's stuff I've missed or stuff I haven't thought about or counter arguments that I didn't consider. That's important to me. And I'm only going to get that if I stay in academia. And so it's like there's things about being an academic that I like and things that I don't like. And things that I like about normal people and things that I don't really jive with. And so the only way, if I leave academia, I will never get the things I like ever again from that world. If I stay, I'll get the things I like and the things I don't like. And then from normal society, I will continue to get the things I like and the things I don't like. So I think to maximize, it's like, do I want to avoid the things I don't like in academia more than I want to keep the things I do like? Or vice versa. So I've been thinking about this, like, do I stay or do I leave? And why would I stay and why would I leave? And I think human interaction is really the like crux of this, is like, I don't like interacting with academics as people. And it's not all academics, it's just a lot of them. I like interacting with my mentors and my advisors. I like interacting with a few of the professors that I've had. And I like interacting with a lot of the grad students that I met along the way. But it's just, it's still a social environment. Like, I was in a meeting, I'm not going to say the people's names, but I was in a meeting and we were talking about magma oceans. It was like a couple years ago. I think it was during the pandemic though. And like, in Indian culture, like, you speak in a very blunt way, or at least, no, in the culture that I was raised in. My parents were like Tamil, Brahmin, all that bullshit. I don't think caste matters, but that's what they are, and it does make a difference in how they act, because they think, oh, because we're Brahmin, we do this, we do that, and other people do this other thing. So as a result, I was definitely raised in an environment where like people talk in a very aggressive, blunt way. No, I was never, this kind of tone is not normal the way I grew up. This is like, they would not think something is wrong with me if I talk like this. Um, um, and then American people, like, you have to speak very, or like Western people, you have to speak very gently to them and speak very calmly and at a slower pace and a lower volume. And there are things they just don't want you to say to them. And so, like, for instance, I don't know if it was at this meeting or at a different time, because I think this has happened a lot. Like, I want to be able to say out loud that, a lot of people in my department are kind of old. But I can't, because in Western culture, you can't say stuff like that out loud. You have to say something like, they have more experience. Like, you have to explicitly praise them to spare their feelings. And I'm not used to people explicitly praising me to spare my feelings. And so that there's like thousands of small things like that where I think I talk in a way that doesn't make them comfortable, and they talk in a way that doesn't make me comfortable, because I want to be spoken to a certain way, and that's not something that they know how to give. And when you're in academia and you're surrounded by people who have more power than you, like, so far in academia, my entire life has always been me, and then sure, there's other students, but I've always been at the lowest part of the totem pole. I've never experienced being at the top of the totem pole. So far my experience has been that I can't rub people the wrong way. I always have to cater to their culture. I have to cater to their wants. I have to cater to their comfort. And they are never going to cater to mine, not just because they don't want to, but because I don't think they even are aware that I was raised, differently, because I don't care that much that I'm a minority. It's just small things like this that I think have to do with being a minority. Like, I don't mind being in a room full of white boys. Like, they're cool. If most of my friends growing up were white boys, I was like, it's fine, but they don't know that the way they talk makes me uncomfortable. And I can't tell them that, and they won't understand, because I have to spend like 2 hours explaining it to them, and it's exhausting. And they don't bother to learn about anyone else's life other than their own. And so they are comfortable, they have the power, right? So there is no need, they have no incentive to change their behavior, because they like their behavior. They like who they are. They like the way they talk. And if I don't, then it's my problem, and I can leave. So and then I'm like, oh, if I can leave, then why am I staying in academia if I can leave? if I can leave this environment that's constantly uncomfortable, constantly. And it, like, I love physics to the point where, like, I don't need someone to pay me to do it. I'll still do it. Like, I don't think I would publish any papers because you can't publish unless you're affiliated with an institution, but I would still do it. I think I get depressed if I don't do physics every day, so it's a whole thing. But yeah, there's a lot of, it's just like the culture and the human interaction component of being in academia is very, very difficult for me. And it's difficult socially too outside of academia. I think I just am not a people person. But the only time I like talking to people that I don't know very, very well is when I'm explaining my science to them. I can do that. I can explain. If I can talk about something that isn't me, something that is more beautiful and fucking cool than anything I could ever do, like the fact that birds use magnetic field to navigate, and the fact that, like, maybe like 10 years ago, MIT developed these, no, maybe like 8 years ago, MIT developed these like nano robots that can go into your body and do drug delivery, but in a more, let's say, intentional and pre-programmed way. Stuff like that is cool. And these robots can swim upstream against the current. They're strong. And like, so I like talking about that stuff. As long as I don't have to talk about me and I can take my mind and the other person's mind and pull our attention towards a third object, I'm fine. But if I have to interact with them as me and focus on me and them, if they're someone I don't know, it becomes hard. Just the first time I talk to them. Maybe after that I can tell them about me, but like even then it's like uncomfortable. The point is that talking to, like, in social situations, if I get to talk about science, I'm happy, I think, especially physics, and because I'm a physicist. And I realize that maybe I can apply that in academia too. And the reason that I haven't is because, again, when you've spent most of your life so far at the bottom of the totem pole and you look up at people who are, their ego is completely wrapped up in their intellect, it's intimidating, especially if you don't care how smart. Like, I care. I think my self-worth is wrapped up. My ego and self-worth are wrapped up in my ability to empathize with people because I struggle with that. But I don't really care if I'm smart. I know I'm smart. That's it. Like, I don't really have anything follow up to say. Whereas I look up at these people in academia and I feel like they care if they're smart. They care a lot. And so they flaunt it. And for some reason that makes me uncomfortable being around them because I feel like I don't empathize with them. And so I've never really tried that hard to communicate my science to them because I don't know if I don't think they see me as if I'm on the same plane as them. And the idea that, like, people, like, I know people that I knew when they were PhD students and now they're professors, and they're on the same plane as people who have been professors for 35 years. And that concept is weird to me. Like, I don't get that. And I don't understand how you're, like, is this imposter syndrome or insecurity? Because I'm not normally an insecure person, but I think I have been insecure for a really long time, but I didn't realize I was insecure. I thought I just hated people. And now I'm realizing that it's more that I don't feel like, I have no reason to think that they will want to have a conversation with me. And to be fair, I also don't think they want to listen to me. And that's because, I feel like this is a pretty common phenomenon. When you talk to a professor that isn't very good for a class that you're taking, like, most of those people, like, they do this thing where when you are trying to explain a problem that you're having, like a question or something you don't understand to them, they'll listen to the first 60% and then they'll immediately stop listening and start processing an answer in their head while you're still saying the last 40%. And then when you're done talking, they don't pause and think. They immediately start talking back. And that's what indicates to me that they were not actually listening to the last 40%, because if they were, they would have had to pause and think. But the fact that they immediately have an answer, and their answer is never pertinent to what I was saying, it clearly indicates that they didn't listen to the whole thing. They only listened to the first 60%, and then they started ignoring what I was saying and started thinking, which is why they didn't give a response that made any sense or had anything to do with my question. And also, it's why they were able to respond immediately when I stopped making noise. So, when you experience that interaction with people who have more power than you and are more knowledgeable in the field that you work in, and you experience that kind of interaction over and over and over and over again for like almost a decade, I think it really warps your perception of how people are ever going to treat you. And it definitely, I think, has trained, because the human mind operates on like pattern recognition. And I know that like the number of people I've met isn't actually a statistically significant sample size of humanity. And yet, because of the fact that the brain operates on pattern recognition, the pattern that it has recognized and is now projecting into the future is that academics who are older than me, people who are more experienced than me, don't care what I have to say. So why would I waste my time telling them anything? And then why would I spend the rest of my life around them when they don't care what I have to say? And this idea that, oh, all of a sudden if I become a professor and I get hired and all of a sudden I'm on the same playing field as them, then they'll suddenly start caring what I have to say. I don't understand how people change overnight like that. And maybe they don't change, which is a problem for me. And so I've realized that like the limited number of people I've met has kind of skewed my brain to think that all academics forever and ever are never going to care what I have to say, because they have never cared when I was a student. And that's all I've ever been. And you can't thrive in an environment when no one ever wants to hear you. Ever. And I'm a talker. You know, I can write my communication down, it's fine. But I enjoy talking. And I like talking to people. And if the only time they're ever going to give a shit what I have to say is if I write it down for them, then that's a problem for me. Because I'm writing down exactly what I would say out loud. I don't write in some pretentious tone. I write like this, and then always someone else has to fix the tone, which is a problem too. And I think I need to develop the skill of academic writing, because I write in like normal language. But yeah. So it's just been like hard to want to stay in academia, because you know, up until now, the only people who have given me respect are my advisors and mentors, and like a few faculty who I like took classes with. But the rest of my interactions have been that 60-40 thing. And so I don't really know what to do, but I was thinking about it and I realized maybe to get my brain to observe and then start projecting a new pattern, I can try, and it might fail. Like the pattern I've observed so far might just be the pattern I observe forever. But I can try and talk to more and more people in academia who are like higher up than me and see if the distribution of people who are willing to listen versus people who are impatient and only listen to the first 60% changes from what it is in my brain right now. Maybe I'll meet people who actually do listen to people who are inferior to them, basically. You know, people who have less experience than them. I don't know. I don't know if they'll listen. But I'm gonna try. because I'm stuck doing my PhD right now, and I don't really know what comes after it. And just like anyone, it gives anxiety. Um, but I don't want to sit here and mope and do something about it. So I've decided I'm gonna start this new sort of, I guess it's an experiment, where I don't know if I'll find someone to talk to every day, but it would be nice if I find one person to talk to every day from a variety of different categories that I'll make another video to show what the different categories are, but a variety of different categories of types of people in academia. So like people who are experts in the same field as me, people who are experts in a field that's not my field, people who are what else? People who are specifically women in physics, people who are postdocs in my field, people who are postdocs in other fields, grad students who are similar to my field, grad students who are in other fields, undergrads, and kind of scanning this phase space of different types of people who are in academia, and then also different types of people. And I already get social, like normal society interactions. I tell my Uber drivers what I do. It's fine. Like that, I don't need to do for an experiment, but just within the academic structure, all the different types of people you interact with, I just want to see if I can find one person from a different category every day across several months or whatever to talk to and explain what I do. Or I'll read a paper and tell them I'm going to explain what the paper says to you. And then the experiment is just practicing interacting with them and trying to understand what it takes for different types of people to understand what I'm saying, how to become better at explaining stuff, to different types of people with different levels or areas of expertise. And maybe I'll get more comfortable talking to strangers. I don't know. Maybe it'll make it worse and my anxiety will get worse. I don't know. Maybe I'll meet more people rather than less who actually will listen to everything before they respond. Or maybe I'll meet more people who don't listen to everything and my brain will stay the same. And hopefully I'll get, I don't know, better at something. Maybe something good will happen. I don't know. So I'm gonna make a series of videos where I will ask people if I can record the audio or the video of me just talking to them about whatever it is. And then I'll post the videos here so that, yeah. And then maybe like track some data and watch for any correlations and anything. Okay, that's it. Sorry I cried. That's weird. Actually, it's not. It's just water from your face. Anyway, have a good day.